it wasn't amazing, and the things that I was going through was really bad. But I was looking back on my social media at the end of the day, and I was like, if people just look at that, they'll think, wow, like
everything's easy for her.
Yeah, like, you know, she's living her life and everything is great.
Life.
And I was thinking, but no one will ever know how I was really feeling. You don't know what's actually happening in that person's life.
And 9 times out of 10, it's not as glamorous as it looks. You're listening to The Little Podcast, the podcast where we reflect on different topics each week together. All episodes are aired on Unity FM 93.5 on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Their website is linked below if you'd like to tune in and be the first to hear new episodes each week. But of course, they will all also be available on my blog, www.littlemisszenblog.wordpress.com, as well as on all major podcast platforms. In this episode, I am joined by the lovely Nadia, a good friend of mine. Together, we discuss our past and present relationships with the social media, how we stay healthy with it and the importance of that. We talk all about its pros and cons and how we can solve certain issues a lot of young people face with social media. So inshallah, I hope you enjoy it. Here it is. Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to the Little Podcast. Hope you're all well and that you're having a good day. Today's episode, I have a very special guest with me in the live studio. She's a friend of mine from uni. Her name's Nadia. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum salam.
Thanks so much for joining me today.
I'm so honoured. I feel so honoured.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Nadia. I am in second year doing law.
Yeah, so me and Nadia have been friends since beginning of this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
It hasn't been too long.
We met this year.
Yeah. We met through our uni and our ISOC, and she's also starting her own podcast soon.
Yeah.
So you gotta look out for that, guys.
I'm
What's it
just
called?
yet to launch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Join Me on the Rooftop.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Inshallah.
But it's just not out yet.
But inshallah it will be, and you guys need to go check it out.
Thank you for that promotion.
Yeah. So today's topic that I wanted to discuss was social media, because wow, like if you think back to only just 10 years ago, how different everything was.
Yeah.
So things have changed, and I just wanted to just reflect on it, because I think there's been good benefits out of it, but also negative outcomes, and I think it's good to talk about it. Let's start with, what does social media kind of like, what does it mean to you, and like what do you use it for?
I use it for myself.
Yeah.
I guess it has been always a very important part of my life, but until like recently it hasn't meant a lot to me, just because I think it became more a bad habit for my mental health rather than a good. But it has always been something that's quite dominant, I feel like, in my life, especially things like Instagram and Snapchat. I mean, that's how everyone kind of connects and talks to each other or keeps each other updated on their lives, even if you don't talk to someone directly. So it has been quite an important part of my life, but I'm trying to kind of cut it out now.
Yeah. So for me, I think social media was, back then, I had it when I was 15, 16. For the first time I had it. And
for the first time?
Yeah, I've had it quite a few times and I've deleted it and then gotten it again, because me and social media are just not a good mix. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it, and before I, like yourself, had a bit of a bad relationship with it. Like, it was just affecting me a bit. But the thing is, I didn't even know it was affecting me until, bless her, my mum pointed it out.
Really?
Yeah. So back then it was like I had my personal account and I used it just like you, like for me. But I think everyone's different, so for me it affected me badly. So I'd just, like the usual, it made me feel like I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't living my best life or whatever. Yeah. And yeah, so my mom, when she saw it, she was just like, this isn't you. Yeah. So I actually deleted it, and then it was only like a few, obviously at first I missed it, but it was only a few months after that I realised how much it affected me. It's crazy how much.
And then you get used to it, like being away from it, because I used to have a habit of where I felt like I had to, every day in the morning, I had to go check my social media, like it's news, you know, like Instagram, I had to go through all of them. Now I wake up and I don't even go on my phone sometimes, and I think that's such a big change that has happened, because it was always something that I spent so much time on during my day, and it was such a waste as well.
But now I think it's changed. Like I've gotten it recently just purely for my blog and this podcast.
Yeah.
And I think my relationship with it's so much healthier.
Do you think so? How's that?
Because I'm detached from it, and I don't base my worth on how many likes I get or how many followers, and I used to do that.
I feel like I did that in a different sense. I never really cared about the likes, although it was nice. Actually, I remember there was a time where if I felt really bad about myself, I would post something, and having people give a positive reaction just made me feel better. But the fact that I was relying on that was toxic, and I knew that very quickly, and I think after that I moved away from that. But similarly, I think what I used to do kind of obsessively was watch my stories or like see who's viewing it and not, and I don't even know why. Like what's the reason? Like what am I gonna get out of that?
So strange, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Is that on Instagram and Snapchat?
Yeah, mostly Instagram. And I was like why? Like just why? I don't think anyone really cares.
I think that's the thing we always have in our heads, that people are looking at our stories and like judging us, and we always have to make sure we know like what's on it, what we've posted, who's seen it. And
I used to like really care so much about what I posted, or what if people thought this, what if people thought. Now when I post, I really don't care. I'm posting, it's my account, you know, like I want to post whatever I want to post. If I find something interesting, I will post about that.
So how did you make that change? Like how did you realize it was wrong and then decided that you wanted to change?
I think like over time, I just, you know, times when my mental health wasn't great, and I just reflect on my life and things that, you know, I'm doing and whatnot. Also, there was a period of time last year where we lost Wi-Fi at our house for like a whole month, and I had no internet for a whole month.
What a blessing.
It was, because it made me realize, wait, I can go without going on socials. I can go without being on all these things. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not actually a really important thing. So yeah, it's things like that. And now sometimes I deactivate Instagram just because I want that break, and I can go weeks without
You're in control of it now.
Yeah, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think people struggle with a lot, is that, and I got this from a quote. Do you know Shat Patel?
Yeah.
She's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
She did a video like ages ago, and it really got to me, and I still remember it now, where she said that you should be using social media and not letting social media use you.
Yeah.
And so many people are quite literally slaves to social media. Like they live for the gram, and they live their life just to post things.
Yeah. I think it's nice. I think it's a great way to like connect with people and to be influenced by people, but at the same time you shouldn't put all your worth and everything about you on that.
It becomes like you can't see past it.
You have to have like that reality check with yourself. Like I've seen it with friends as well. I think that's why I can reflect on myself, because I've seen friends get really consumed to a point where, you know, it's kind of building their character or changing their character. And, you know, I've been the one to say, you know what, like, I think it's social media that's making you this way, making you feel like this. And then, like, that also made me kind of reflect, oh, do I do that then? Do I make myself get so consumed in it that I can't even see the reality of things? And I think it's good to have those, like, checks with yourself. Like, okay, that's there, but I also need to live my life like a normal person. Yeah,
it's about getting that balance. You can't just live your life for social media. It's just, I don't think it's worth it.
Because you never know, like, nothing's really how it seems.
At all. You don't know what's going on behind that picture.
Yeah. Because I was thinking recently, like a few days ago, I was thinking, it was like one of those days where I posted on Instagram, and I do have kind of a big following, I guess. I don't know. But lately, I don't really care about the followings.
Yeah.
I don't even like accept requests. Anyways, I'm going off track. What I was trying to say was, I think I went out with my friend and stuff, and I posted on social media. So I post, pictures or selfies or just us out. And that night, I think I looked back on my story and I was like, wow, it looks like, if I didn't know what happened later that day, because later that day I had a mental breakdown and other things happened and it wasn't amazing, and the things that I was going through was, really bad. But I was looking back on my social media at the end of the day and I was like, if people just look at that, they'll think, wow, like she's such a,
everything's easy for her.
Yeah, like, she's living her
problems,
life and everything's great. And I was thinking, but no one will ever know what actually happened that day, or the things I was actually going through, or how I was really feeling. So it's kind of scary, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's such a weird concept. People are striving for something that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, because you don't know what's actually happening in that person's life.
And 9 times out of 10, it's not as glamorous as it looks.
Yeah, because remember, everything's filtered. Everything, like, I'm posting the best of the things. I'm not going to show you me crying at like 3 a.m. Like, I'm not going to post that.
Exactly.
But just because I look happy and everything seems amazing doesn't necessarily mean that's how it is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the big reasons why mental health goes down with social media. So it's all about recognizing that and making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a few good benefits of social media. Yeah. You can spread awareness, charities.
Oh, you can make such big changes.
This full-on business is starting on Instagram.
I mean, everyone does their marketing online on social media now. Like, the best way to grow your business, isn't it?
And it's like a way for people to meet new people, connect with communities, and make a change. It's just a matter of keeping that balance between living your life and making sure that you use social media in the right way.
Yeah.
Because you can use it in a wrong way and a right way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a good one. What is your take on public Muslim figures influencers?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, were you? Because I feel like we need to talk about this.
I was thinking about that.
Do you think they're good for our community or bad for our community? And I want you to be completely honest, because I feel
that's
like
a risky thing.
A bit of a controversial topic here.
It is. Oh, that's really risky. I hope no one tries to cancel me for it.
This is a safe place, don't worry.
I think it's either can be really good or can be really bad. I mean, I feel sorry for them as well. I feel for them. But at the same time, if you have a big following, you have that responsibility. What you say and do has an influence.
A really big influence.
It has a really big influence. So you should take into consideration the way you do things and the way you handle things.
What you post, how you say
things and whatnot. Yeah, definitely. But I also think at the end of it, they're still human, just like anybody else. And they have their own sort of journey with, if we're talking about like faith. But I think it's just, you should still be careful of how you then show that on social media, because people will judge, people will talk, people will get influenced, and you could be responsible for influencing someone in the wrong way, in the wrong path. And I've seen a lot of people do that. And I think one of the things was like this trend that happened, recently, even, or over the last few years, is like taking off the hijab.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Do you not think, like, I think it's been influenced by a lot of Muslim influencers, and I guess everyone then they always post like a disclaimer, like, oh, this has been my difficult journey and this and that and whatnot. And I understand that and I appreciate that. I used to wear a hijab.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I took it off, and I know my reason and I know my struggle with it. But it is sad because when an influencer does it, it does influence other people, because it gives that space of, oh, you know what, she did it though,
so I can do it too.
So I can do it too. Maybe it's okay for me to do it too. And I think that's just like,
it's human nature.
Yeah, like it's just how your brain works. You give yourself those excuses, and that's why I think it can be either such a good thing with like Muslim influencers, or it can be such a negative thing. Because
as much as you can influence someone the bad way, you can influence them the good way as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a sticky one. On the topic of the hijab situation, obviously everyone's got their own journey and they're going through it themselves.
Yeah.
but it's just, you can't escape the judgment, is what I'm
You
saying.
have to just acknowledge that you have to take accountability for the things you do.
And I do, like you said, I do feel sorry for them as well, because the spotlight is on them. Everyone's watching them all the time, what they do, and they
can't be perfect. They're
obviously
not there
perfect,
to actually guide you.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It just happens.
So it does come back to yourself and how you take things from those influences. But at the same time, you know, it's natural that people are going to have an influence from what they do. Because there'll be a lot of girls that look up to them. There'll be a lot of girls that, you know, get very influenced on a daily basis from what they post and how they live their lives and things. So, yeah, that is a sticky one.
It's a bit of a sticky one, man. I help them, inshallah.
What do you think?
I think just the same. Like, it's both beneficial and damaging to our Muslim community, because the Muslim youth are already confused enough. I mean, with the society the way it is. It's hard for Muslim children growing up in this kind of society already. And then on top of that, you have influencers who could potentially add to that struggle. Yeah. But at the same time, like, we can't just not let Muslims be influential because of the positive impact it has had. I mean, have you heard of, you know, Hamza Productions? Hamza Arshad, he's got an MBE.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's like one of the very few Muslims who have actually got that award. I've seen that. It's just been so inspirational.
See, things like that
are so amazing, and it's had a national impact on the way people see Muslims. So there's that kind of perspective as well, where if we're not in the media, then we're not going to have any representation as well.
No, but like I said, when I said, you know, I feel sorry for them, I was just thinking, like, one of my friends, she does YouTube and she has Instagram and stuff as well, and she took off her scarf recently, and even though she doesn't have the biggest following, but even she was saying to me how she's now scared to post, or like is kind of worried to post on YouTube, because her previous video she had a scarf on, she had a hijab on, and now she doesn't. And she's saying people are gonna say things, and people already do, like on her Instagram. It's so crazy, these people that have been following her for years, and now they're like saying negative things. And even though they might say in a way like, oh, may Allah guide you, this and that, no, that's not what she needs to hear right now. Like, that's not for you to make that kind of judgment. So even though for her it's in a smaller scale, I kind of understand bigger influencers, and when they, how do I explain it, when they do certain things that aren't, you know, Islamic, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kind of criticisms they have to face. But we're all like that though. We all have our own sins, and we all make mistakes.
And did you find that with your friend, even though it was a small amount of people, that it still had a big impact on her?
Yeah, she cried to me one time, and she was just like, I don't understand why everyone has to say these things or make. I'm just like, honestly, it's none of their business. And
these are people who she doesn't even know.
Yeah, there's people like she knows and doesn't know. And I said to her, she actually did put a post up, I think, just kind of talking about it, and I was like, don't even do that. So don't explain yourself. Who cares? I know what's the real story, and you know what's it is between you and God, and why do you have to explain yourself to other people? But she did put something out and whatnot, and I was like, okay, if you feel comfortable, if that makes you feel more comfortable, because she didn't even want to post afterwards, and I was just like, no, that's not good. And you know, the other thing is that doesn't make anyone want to become better or go put the hijab back on.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Do you know what I mean? You're not doing anything good.
You're just making it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand. If you really want to do the community some good, then don't add to that negativity, because that's not going to help anyone.
So I think it's also not just the influencers, but it's people that are on social media, and the social media culture and the way everyone sort of handles
it is
things.
A whole culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, thinking back to how it was before growing up, and we didn't have Instagram and we didn't have Snapchat. It's so different now. It's so weird, isn't it?
I think like anybody younger than us, they can't say that anymore.
I know, literally, I've seen videos of babies who are just like on iPads. Their parents will make an Instagram account.
We're like
with them.
one of the last generations to be able to say that, oh, we didn't have that, we had a childhood, you know?
Yeah, that's so crazy, isn't it? I remember the first time my big sister got a flip phone, and that was such a big deal. And then the first time she had a touch screen phone, and we were just like, whoa, what is this? Oh, it's just so crazy. It's so weird to think how different life is now. So do you have any like personal experiences of how social media has benefited you or damaged you? Or
I mean, I met a lot of friends through social media. I don't really like meeting people on social media because I'm someone, I feel like you really get to know me when you meet me in person. I just can't like be myself through text and or whatnot. It's just, I prefer to meet people in person, and then I can see their vibe and what they're really like. And I'm saying that because, like, you know, it is great. Like, that's one thing that's great about social media is you can meet people. But for me, I think that's not always been something that I liked about it or really cared too much about. But having said that, I still did meet like a few friends, you know, through Instagram and things. And I think it's also great when you have good followers. You know, if you're doing something and then there's people that you don't even know that are popping up and being encouraging and supportive, and it's so nice to have that. And also the fact that you can literally talk to anyone from around the world, wherever they are.
That's so crazy,
right? Like, I think that's one of the amazing things about social media. You're not limited to like this one city or one area or space. Also opportunities, like if you can become well known on social media, there are so many opportunities, so many things that like do you know what I mean, like
people use it as a springboard into going into other things. Do you think social media has taught you anything? So for me, I think social media has taught me to know my own self-worth.
Yeah, definitely.
And not relying on other people, because you had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. Yeah. Why are you caring about people who you may or may not even know? Why are you basing your self-worth on if they liked your post or not? Yeah. Like, it's so crazy. And judging like, oh, this person has more followers than me, or oh, this person has more likes than me, or if it's the other way around, oh, I have more likes than them. It's like, it's just all about the ego and
envying people.
Exactly. So it's taught me to just not go down that road and just
I think it's similar for me, and it's taught me to sort of always be kind of true to myself and to not become something that I'm not just because of how much interaction I have on social media and things. There was a time that I grew a lot of followers on Instagram, and somebody said that I changed because of that, but I could never agree to that. And even my friends agree, because I'm someone that I might change, I will grow all the time, and I will change my mentality to a certain extent, but I'll always try and be myself and not get too sort of involved and deep into social media, because I know from my experience, from other people's experience, how scary that is and how you can lose yourself. So it's to always, you know, try and have that balance.
That's a really big lesson that I think a lot of people still struggle with, is that they're constantly on social media. Like, it's the first thing that people do in the morning. They check their socials
during the day.
It's such a big part of people's lives.
TikTok,
it's really
recently.
TikTok. Does that count as social media?
Yeah.
I'm yet to download it, thank goodness.
Oh my god, you don't have it?
No. And
okay, I can't even give up TikTok, even though I want to.
Really?
But I think with social media, what's scary is like the cultures that develop, like the cancel culture and things like that. Yeah. I just think it's so ridiculous.
Spilling the tea.
Everything. I feel like everyone's so sensitive. And I think it's good to be sensitive with certain things and call people out for certain things. But it's gotten to a point where you can't say anything without someone having to say something or blow it out of proportion.
Literally just us earlier when we were saying, oh, this is controversial.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, you know,
should we say this? Should we
not? And I don't think that's necessarily right. Like, you should be able to talk and whatever, as long as you're not, you know, hurting someone and damaging someone's life. And
again, you have to have that balance.
Yeah, and things like memes. I was talking about it with one of my friends recently.
Memes is massive, man. That's how people communicate.
I know, but it's so bad though, because she was explaining to us how it's so scary how people talk in memes.
Literally talk
in memes and cannot have a normal human conversation. And I think that's so ridiculous. I appreciate memes and I think it's great, but if you can't then like socialize like a normal person, I just think that just shows how damaging that is for you. Also, memes where it's laughing at misery of others.
Oh my gosh.
Like, most memes are like that. Like, it's, you know, violating someone or like embarrassing someone, and that goes viral and everyone loves that. But do you ever like stop and think, how is that affecting that person's life?
That's so true.
Especially when someone, meme pages, they might not necessarily go out and say something negative about something they post of someone, but they give that space in the comments where people completely destroy that person. Do you not ever think, but that person then has to look through all these things?
I never
and
thought
has
that.
to, what are they going through? How are they handling that mentally? It might be fun for you for a few seconds, it might be funny to you, but what are they doing? How are they handling that? And she was, my friend was basically saying those things, and I was like, that's so true. And I think about it a lot as well. Like, what if you were in that situation? I mean, as jokes, sometimes me and my friend was very crazy. We do really stupid things out in public, and we're like, imagine we become a meme. That's a fear. That's an actual fear.
You would just be objectified. That's exactly. It. You are a meme. That's it.
Do you know what I mean? The fact that that's become a fear, like, oh, what if we become a meme?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you not realise how toxic that is?
So crazy.
That we can't be stupid in public. I mean, we're not that stupid, but do you know what I mean? Like, just ourselves, because we're that, scared.
Like, consciousness.
Yeah, and the fact that we have that, and I think that's really scary.
That is scary.
That you can become kind of like a victim of memes.
That's so weird.
Because some are so bad, you know? There are some that are just there to make fun of someone. I've seen some really bad ones, and they're not funny. They're not dark humour. They're not, you know, just a laugh or banter.
That's horrible. Throughout, I think, this whole semester, I think every conversation that I've had, at least 3 or 4 memes will come up.
Yeah.
Like, it's unavoidable.
I feel like here and there, fine, you talk about what you've seen on social media. My trousers are really noisy. That's fine, but there are some people that's all they know, and that's all they can talk about.
I mean, imagine being the people who actually own those meme accounts, like the really big ones.
Yeah,
they have to go through memes every day.
I mean, I don't feel anything for them.
No, as in, like, imagine how much that affects them.
Yeah, I don't. True.
And how much they have to
I feel like they are part of the problem, though.
That's true.
They know what they're posting. They know when they post that, what's that gonna do for the person that's in that video or in that picture.
But that's the thing, they're probably not even thinking about that.
They don't even realise how much they might be ruining someone's life.
They're probably not aware.
But obviously that has its also good side to, like, things becoming viral and then somebody gaining popularity and becoming famous. But at the same time, you know, when it's something embarrassing and humiliating, do you really want that to be out there for people to be something that people laugh at and just, like, that's not what you want.
Use as jokes.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally laughing at people. Like, imagine that person was standing right in front of you. Would you laugh in their face? No.
I feel like a lot of people would, you know. Our generation's
really?
that messed up. I think they probably would.
We are quite messed up, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, we're coming towards the end of the episode now. We've got about 10 minutes left. I kind of just want to ask you one last question. Say there's, for the people listening out there, say there's youngsters who are listening and they're going through this right now and they're consumed by social media and they can't really see past it. Maybe they're basing their self-worth on it. Maybe they're, you know, really worried about what they're going to post. Maybe that's, you know, the only thing that's on their mind. What kind of advice would you give to help them get out of that? My advice would be aware of who you follow, first and foremost, because that creates your own environment. I mean, people talk about an environment as in, like, physically, like, around you, but you have an environment within your social media as well. Like, you need to make sure you surround yourself with realness, nothing negative. You have to avoid people who are just, you know, that will affect your mental health. I think that's really important. And I'd also say be aware of what you yourself post, because if you're posting something and then constantly checking to see who's liked it or not, that's going to affect yourself like negatively. So you have to know your own self-worth before you post anything that you think will affect you. I don't even know if I'm making sense, but
no, it makes sense. I completely agree. It's like surrounding yourself with the right kind of friends, you know? So it's followers. Yeah, but in social media you create that, and I think I do that now as well. I used to follow a lot of people for no reason, and my friend used to tell me off for it. She's like, why do you follow so many people that you don't even know or that actually you don't really care to follow? So now I go through like people that I follow and I'm like, is this someone that is good for me to follow? Do I actually care to follow this person? Do I know this person? Things like that.
And that's really important to do that process of or like, asking yourself those questions.
Yeah, or like if I'm following someone that I don't know, why am I following them? Like, do I like the content or do I like what they post? Also, are they good people? Like, just from how they seem kind of on social media, from what, obviously you never really know, but like what they post or when things happen, are they spreading that awareness and things like that? And that's important for me. So I do nitpick. So kind of like what you said. Yeah. And I would say the same thing is, you know, being careful of who you follow.
Because and what kind of people itself, you follow. You're following them. Yeah. Quite literally follow.
Yeah. And you will be influenced by the things that they do.
Exactly.
And I think that's very important. Also with social media for like people that are younger, I feel like taking the break. Don't consume yourself with them.
Social media detoxes.
Yeah, go out and meet people. Go make friends in real life. Especially if you're younger, that means, you know, you're in school and stuff. Make the best of those times, you know?
I think right now though, because it's COVID, that's a bit difficult. I mean, even school is online. So
that's so sad.
It's so sad, man. Like, you can't even say go out and do something with your friends.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Man. Okay, we're gonna say go out, but within your social bubble.
Yeah, I mean, or like when you're in school, because schools are open now.
Yeah, they've open. Actually, yeah, that's true.
But if you're meeting people online, I think you always have to be careful. Check them out, stalk them out a little bit if you need to. I don't know. I just think there was, you know, younger people or like kids weren't on social media. But I know when we were younger, we all wanted to be on social media.
Oh yeah.
But like now, looking back, I just don't think. You really need to be able to handle it. You know? Kids get influenced so easily. And they won't know, like, from right or wrong because there's no one there, like, checking their every move.
I mean, with TikTok, they're learning all of these dances. I mean, I'm pretty sure half of them don't even know what those dance moves mean.
TikTok especially.
It's so damaging.
Oh, you should see some of the comments. I'm like, and I look at it, I'm like, these are kids.
I know, literally.
Like, how
when I was your age, I was out there skipping and like hopscotch.
No, but like the things that they say, I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm young myself still, but they're very brave. Very brave.
Very confident. A bit overconfident. So every episode, I like to end with final thoughts. So it's basically like, what would you want the listeners to reflect on the most, having considered everything that we've talked about today?
I feel like I rambled a lot.
I mean, that's just what podcasts are, though. We just ramble and ramble and ramble, and somehow people enjoy that.
Well, hopefully.
So yeah, my final thoughts would be, how are you using social media? And I really want you guys just to reflect on whether or not it affects you and how it affects you. Are you letting social media use you, or are you using it? And if you can answer that question, then inshallah you'll be able to resolve the issue of, you know, if it is the case that social media is using you, and hopefully you'll be able to change that and inshallah take steps to heal yourself and your mental health, inshallah.
I agree, but I think I would definitely recommend taking a break every few weeks for however long you can, and trust me, you'll see a difference. Just like you'll be more observant to the real world. Like definitely do think that's a great thing to do.
So check yourself and take a social media detox every once in a while. Okay.
Is that done?
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me, Nadia. This has been amazing. You got to come on for another episode for sure, inshallah.
Sorry if I was rambling so much.
No.
Sometimes I get carried away.
Don't apologize. It's amazing. It's perfect. Inshallah. I hope everyone who's listening benefited from this episode. Head on over to my Instagram if you guys want to continue on this discussion, because I'll be posting about it, inshallah, because it's really important to talk about social media. It's crazy. We're gonna have talk about
it on social
media, but you know, as I said, that's how people communicate these days. There's not much else.
That's the good part of it, though.
Yeah, that's one of the good parts of it. I mean, there's good and bad in everything. So yeah, inshallah, and I hope you guys have a good rest of day, and inshallah I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. That's so cute.